Standing on a beach on the Sub-Antarctic Macquarie Island, I am besieged by penguins. They walk up to me, curious about my red jacket and the shiny surface of the lens. Penguins lead busy lives, and only a handful have the time to stop and chat with me. There's a searching look in their eyes, as if wondering, might I become their new friend? If only I could stay longer, I would. My name is Ewen and I'm an editorial photographer from Australia. I make short videos to share my joy of photography and invite you to step into my world. On a recent trip to the Sub-Antarctic Islands, I met a wonderful couple who had spent nearly 2 decades completing their exploration of the world in search of every penguin species. 18 was a magic number when they started on their quest. The debate over which penguins really are a different species or subspecies is never really settled. Macquarie Island is one of those places you have to visit if you want to see every penguin in the world. The royal penguin can only be found here, and you can only get to Macquarie Island on a ship that slowly travels south from Australia or New Zealand. Charles and Susan did indeed see every penguin in the world, and they made a marvellous book about it. There are some lovely photos at every turn and a story woven through the pages that only a true writer could compose. It's a thing of beauty. Charles also gave us on the ship a short presentation one night after dinner, and he talked about how he and Susan fell in love with the penguins. He talked about the penguin glow as a way to describe the feeling you have when all you want is to see more penguins. Anyone who has enjoyed a brief chat on a beach with royal penguins will know exactly what that means. One penguin is not enough. For myself, on a personal level, the idea of seeing every penguin in the world is not compelling. This is not something that drives me forward. Just as I don't need to visit every country in the world or own every camera that's ever been made, I'm happy with just a few. And over the past decades, I've learnt to enjoy spending more time in fewer places. The same goes with penguins. I'm very happy to have quality time with just a handful of them, to have a chance to watch a mating pair as they strengthen their bonds, or when they flip off an unwanted third party, and then watch a hapless single fellow, fresh from the rejection, come up to me and just indulge in a few moments of curiosity. I don't need to photograph every penguin of the world. And I don't need to photograph every penguin on the beach at Sandy Bay. I love to spend as much time as possible with the penguins that I do get to meet, but I cannot capture them all. How many penguins is enough anyway? The day before, we had sailed past a colony of king penguins with roughly 600,000 birds. There are more penguins on that single strip of coast than there are people in Iceland. Our ship was a few hundred metres off the coast, and we watched the penguins with our telephoto lenses through the mist and rain. I kept imagining what it might be like to walk on that beach, to step amongst the chaos with a wide-angle lens and totally immerse myself in the process of photography. Alas, we are not allowed to be so close to the penguins, and certainly not at that colony, for many reasons. Instead, there are selected areas of wilderness on Macquarie Island where small numbers of humans are allowed to gather and mingle with the wildlife from a specified distance. Royal penguins are naturally curious creatures, but king penguins will generally let you know when you've stepped too close. You end up shooting a lot with a telephoto lens. That's not my usual thing, but telephoto is a useful tool for mixing up the perspective, getting in close with detail or extracting one subject out of the chaos. But my happy place will always be wide angle, and all the better with penguins. I love bringing in the location and the scene and the context. I still want that shallow depth of field effect, but I want it with as wide an angle lens as possible. penguins make these journeys special, but other photographic inspiration can also be found on the beach. I like to be attentive not only to the big seals and their pups, but to the textures beneath my feet. The pebbles, the sand, the kelp. I watched for half an hour as the tide assembled collections of seaweed onto the beach right beneath my feet. Each wave would leave behind a collage of colours that I could photograph and compose. And then minutes later, another wave would wash through the scene and form an entirely new arrangement. This is why my first rule of photography is go slow. It takes time to take photos. It takes time to see what is around you. It takes time to take it all in. It takes time to decide for yourself what details matter in your captures and what does not. Stepping onto a beach filled with penguins and seals and petrels can feel chaotic at first, and it just takes time to start filtering out the noise, to let go of the distractions. Go slow is about watching before you capture, working out where exactly on the beach the majority of the penguins are landing. Where do they walk when they have gotten ashore? Paying attention to mobs of kings as they waddle along the shore like gangsters. Where are they going? Why do they keep doing this? Go slow lets you experience the wilderness a little, so you have a better idea of what you want to capture. Time spent with penguins is precious, and the penguin glow that Charles and Susan allude to is very, very real. You do always end up feeling the need to go back and meet them again. This is where the camera is such a wonderful creation, because each time I go back through my photos, I get to feel a little of that glow all over again. Each time I walk through the raw files and refine my edits, I'm standing on the beach at Macquarie Island once again. I'm seeing the wild strands of the crest as if for the first time. I'm admiring the fine details of their feathers, designed to fly through the water instead of the air. I get to look closely at their little pink feet, the red eyes, and the pink papillae inside their beaks. When I watch back through my video footage and I take in their behaviours as they flip from bickering with a neighbour to hugging a lover. All that from just a few penguins.